Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. Let's start the conversation in Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni on Tuesday removed his son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, as commander of Uganda's land forces, days after Kainerugaba repeatedly threatened on Twitter to invade neighboring Kenya. But Kainerugaba, who of course is widely regarded as the de facto head of the military and his father's chosen successor, later said the comments were made in jest.
In the statement announcing his replacement as Land Forces commander, the Ugandan military said Kainerugaba had been promoted from lieutenant general to full general and would remain a senior presidential advisor for special operations, but it gave no reason for the decision. Now, this is the statement on the screen here. Meanwhile, President Museveni has apologized to Kenyans, adding that it was not correct for his son to utter such remarks. He says, "I'm very sorry for what my son Muhoozi did. I ask our Kenyan brothers and sisters to forgive us for tweets sent by General Muhoozi, former commander of the land forces. It is not correct for public officers, be they civilian or military, to comment or interfere in any way in the internal affairs of brother countries." We're now joined this morning by Bunyoro Jackson Wabiona. He's a political analyst and the regional coordinator, Alliance for National Transformation Party. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, how are you today?
Now, before we get into the conversation this morning, let's take a look at some of the tweets made by General Muhoozi before we get your input on this. Now, some of the tweets says, he said, "It wouldn't take us, that is my army and me, 2 weeks to capture Nairobi." That's one tweet. He said, "My Kenyan brothers, we are going to be one country. Any war against us will end quickly." And we have another tweet where he says, "After our army captures Nairobi, where should I live? Westlands, Riverside?" And we have one more tweet that says, "I'm glad that I have scared you Kenyans a bit. 2 weeks is long. Nairobi in 1 week for sure, aided by my brothers from Carnival." What do you make of these comments by General Muhoozi Kainerugaba?
Thank you very much. I think to me, on the surface, it looks as if these are jokes. These are normal, easy chats on social media. But I think you cannot joke with someone's identity. Because once you are mentioning a country, or mentioning a personality, that is an identity of a people, of a population, it is diplomatically known. It's not like it's a friend or a Facebook friend whom we are chatting with. But to me, it is not just jokes. It's an intended, calculated action that is known only between General Muhoozi and his supervisor. And that is the commander-in-chief of the Ugandan army and the father. Simply because the law is clear in Uganda that if you are a serving officer, army officer, you are not supposed to comment any controversial issue, not even a political matter, comment on political matters. So being a general, I'm very sure General Muhoozi knows very well. And that's one. Two, President Museveni also knows that he's wrong. Because in previous cases, lower ranked people have just made simple political comments and they have been either court-martialed or put in any other punishments. So to me, when a general makes such a statement and a father not only promotes but doesn't do anything to him, I think it's a calculated action that we may not be able to touch a thing and say this is it, but it is calculated, which is not between the two people.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've definitely been following news across Africa, there's been coups and military uprisings here and there, and so this is a very scary statement to make. You would, assume that, of course, he will be punished, like you've mentioned. How do you think the Kenyan government would take this, and of course, take the statements and the reaction from Yoweri Museveni?
If I were a Kenyan member of government, I wouldn't take this one lightly, more especially when it comes from a first son of a sitting president, and more so an experienced and aggressive president like Museveni. Uganda has been known for aggression for some time. I mean, it did that to Tanzania. We've been in Congo, times in Gigare, maybe we've been in South Sudan. And so if I were a Kenyan, I wouldn't take this lightly. I think there is history which points to something bad, and it is intended to prepare people for that, I think.
I think another question to ask is what exactly is going on? We know this is not the first time that we've heard General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. His name has come up several times, when we talk about controversial tweets in the Ethiopia-Tigray crisis, the Russia-Ukraine crisis. It's called the EU lawmakers jokers. Over time, we've seen this happen time and again. But like you mentioned earlier, this might have, been something that would necessitate maybe a court martial, but he's getting, it seems, some say that he's getting some preferential treatment because he's the son of the president. What can be done to prevent situations like this from happening again? And would you agree that he indeed is getting preferential treatment because he's the president's son?
But I think this, General Muhoozi is not the first case in this scenario. We've seen other family members doing other things. I remember one time the brother was involved in a financial scandal, called it corruption. And instead, he was told to use the money for development. So a number of family members have been involved in funny instances. So I think it's just a mindset. It's just about how the president or the first family looks at Uganda. There is that sense of entitlement that this family sacrificed a lot, they fought, and therefore they reach a situation where they forget that they are official.
Okay, I mean, it's now seemed like, this is taking some way, in some form, lightly. Now, let's ask about apologies. The president has come out to apologize on behalf of his 48-year-old son, who is a public figure in this sense, a military leader. Why exactly has Muhoozi Kainerugaba himself not apologized for this?
What I read from this is that an adult like Kainerugaba, a general at that level, would be expected to apologize on his own. But this confirmed that the father was aware of what he was doing, and maybe he was doing it on his behalf, I would say, because why would you apologize for such a serious mistake? So it means he sanctioned it, and maybe for diplomatic purposes, he had to apologize. But of course, we have, as Ugandans and Africa, we have to thank Museveni for apologizing, because it takes courage to apologize. But the question is, why should you apologize when you are also sabotaging or undermining institutions? So at a personal level, at a family rule level, it makes sense. It is positive. But at a country and institutional level, the damage is irreparable.
Well, Kenya just got a new president, William Ruto. I'm not sure what you expect from him. You expect that he should put out a statement, and of course, to share his views on this whole situation.
I think the region is just looking at President Ruto towards his response, because there has been an allegation that there was some assistance in the last election from Ugandan government. And the region is just waiting to prove whether it was right or wrong. And even the rumors around Uganda indicated that maybe there is a deal going wrong, but that the Kampala government is bitter, that it was not really appreciated. Because how could they, how can President Ruto fail to make a comment? We are just waiting. Otherwise, it would mean then that the rumor was right.
Well, just for clarity, of course, thank you very much, of course, for your time this morning. Thanks for joining us. And as the story develops, we would love to speak with you again.
Thank you. Thank you.